he does have some very, very progressive liberal policies, but he doesn't come, he comes across in a more reassuring and not a threatening way. And, in politics, as you guys know, perception is a heck of a lot more important than reality. And he seems to have a good bedside manner, if you will. And I think it's kind of a very interesting pick. Didn't really expect it, but people that have worked closely with him, other governors I've talked to, House members, and to be honest, this guy who served 6 terms in the House, sort of under the radar screen, not a flashy guy, not a self-promoter, but the people that have worked with him closely, they seem to think very highly of him.
Well, not everyone thinks highly of him or highly of the choice, Charlie. There is a narrative ongoing that is being encouraged by the Republican ticket. Donald Trump was talking about this on Fox and Friends this morning. This notion that the selection of Walz over Governor Josh Shapiro, a Jewish man, was an anti-Semitic one. Keeping in mind here that the vice president is married also to a Jewish man, the second gentleman of the United States, Doug Emhoff. Is that a message that will resonate with anyone who is not already part of the Trump base?
I don't think that's much of a, I mean, heck, did former President Trump picking J.D. Vance and not someone who is Jewish, was that anti-Semitic? No, I think that's kind of, anybody who believes that is going to want to believe that and will believe anything else. I mean, the thing is, I think the race has changed in that, Biden is out of the way, age, health, all that out of the way, but fundamentals are still there. The map is still hard, it still tilts more Republican than Democrat, with sort of, Republican, we've talked about this before, Republican votes being more efficiently allocated around the country. And the cost of living, economic anxiety, border, which were real problems for Biden, those have conveyed over. And it may not be 1-to-1, but it's, 0.9 to 1. I mean, it's very, very close. And those are still problems that she's going to have to deal with. But I think the pick was, it was a solid pick. And I don't think it'll affect the outcome of the election, but it will make for an interesting vice presidential debate. That's for sure.
God, let's see if we get one. Enter the incumbent, Charlie Cook. Political reporting today that aides to Biden and Harris are considering plans to bring him back onto the campaign trail and appear with her. Is that smart, or should Kamala Harris try to stay as far away from Joe Biden for the balance of this campaign?
Oh, I don't think it will. I mean, the thing is that Biden, yes, the Biden administration there was a reason why he dropped 14 percentage points in his Gallup job approval rating between July and October of 2021. And a lot of it was inflation, all that stuff. But at the same time, ultimately, what pushed Biden out of the race was perception that, look, this guy's too old to serve effectively for 4 more years. And I think a lot of voters, to be honest, back in 2020, it was never explicitly said, but they thought this was going to be one and done, that Biden would serve 1 term and move on. And it was never promised. He didn't break a promise, but it was sort of implied, and probably would have been a good idea, to stick with that. But, so I don't think her campaigning, I don't think Harris can. First of all, if she didn't campaign with him some, it would look terrible. It would look awful. So I think doing it some makes a whole lot of sense. But his job, he's going to be sticking to his day job, being president, till January 20th.
Well, as we consider Joe Biden, Charlie, you, of course, in the aftermath of the debate, were on this program talking about how it was already going to be hard for him to win. Now the path had gotten that much smaller. He seems to have ultimately recognized that as well. When you're looking now at the path for Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, both of them, whose is easier right now? Or is this simply too close to call at this stage?
Well, to me, the fundamentals still favor Trump, that is, map and the issue agenda. But, Donald Trump has always been somewhat erratic. I think the last 4 or 5 months, he's been more so. And he seems genuinely rattled since Biden dropped out of the race. And, I'm sort of, there's a side of me that thinks that Harris can't win, but Trump can lose. and that if Trump loses, it's going to be him beating himself.